Hi, it's Ray Suarez coming to you this week from Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And David and guests, it would be really hard for me to fully explain the 360 degrees of misery ongoing here in the Haitian capital. The Haitians were shocked, but they shouldn't have been, to see how thoroughly their city was destroyed by this 7.1 earthquake. What can I tell you about what I've seen? You know, a lot of the reporting that I heard in the mainstream press before I got down here seemed like it was looking for commotion, looking for violence, looking for things that weren't going well. But in the several days that we've been here and traveling throughout the capital, I gotta tell you, the remarkable thing is how little of that there is. Haitians waiting patiently at factory gates for the places where they work to open, to stream in their thousands, including thousands of people who are now homeless and yet were clean, well-pressed, dressed for work, ID cards in hand, and ready to start earning a living again. Remember, hardly any wages have been earned in this place for more than 2 weeks now. So I visited a garment factory that employs 750 people, and more than 700 of them showed up for work. You know, it's remarkable how people who sort of give up on the government coming to their rescue, give up and have no faith in the government coming to their aid, often find ways to do things for themselves. So all over the city, in any open space, in a plaza, in a park, in a wide pavement in front of what used to be a government building, people have pitched tents or built makeshift shelters out of scraps of corrugated tin and wood, and are now living out on the street. Some of these places have internal governance, a mayor, a set of decision makers. They've rigged up ways to get electricity, to recharge their cell phones and perhaps run a radio or a television. They are desperate for information. They're desperate for the kind of aid they still very much need, but they're not looting. They're not breaking out into this fistfights that you could imagine if 10,000 people are packed into a very small space and really not given the kind of resources they need to live with any kind of comfort or dignity. What will happen down the road if those things are not supplied is hard to say. We're a couple of weeks away from the rainy season, as many of you with your roots in the Caribbean know. I've been told that in 4 to 6 weeks, it's going to rain and hard every day here. And when that happens, if there are still tens of thousands of people living out of doors, it will be just volcanic, the effect it has, because then you're going to be at risk for waterborne diseases. Then the fact that so many people are using inadequate hygiene, using inadequate toilet facilities will become quite apparent as the human mess comes running through the street. So the government and the international community is going to have to do something, and soon, for these people. More on the resiliency of these people. You know, a lot have been going into the ruins of shops and homes, taking stuff out to be resold on the street. Sometimes you'll see a young fella standing there with just 2 items, a plastic jug and an extension cord, hoping that if he can sell one or both of those things, he'll raise enough money for dinner. Because the aid flows, while they're present, are not reliable and are not well organized enough to get 3 square meals a day to the hundreds of thousands of people who really are with no adequate way of getting their hands on food. Let me tell you a little bit about the medical situation as well. Late last week, I was in Jimani, the border town in the Dominican Republic, where a heavy flow of Haitians came in who couldn't get medical help in the quake zone. And as many of our viewers will know, this is a tense and difficult relationship that these two countries have had, not just over the last 10 or 20 years, but over the last 2 centuries, since the Haitian War for Independence, when they expelled the French and the slave uprising took over the entire island of Hispaniola and governed it from what's now Santo Domingo. There were times when Haiti reinvaded the Dominican Republic, or what was struggling to become the Dominican Republic. There have been scenes of terrible, convulsive violence between the two people, where thousands have been killed by Dominicans trying to purge their society of Haitians. And now that the Dominican per capita income is about 6 times what a Haitian's is, Whenever you get a border where people are very poor on one side and a little bit richer on another, there's going to be tension on that border, and there certainly has been in this country. But now, when trucks arrived with wounded people on the back flatbeds, when buses arrived crammed with people who need medical attention, they were waved in by the Dominican authorities. No lengthy checks of documents, no attempts to keep them out of the country. The hospital at Jimani was, according to the Guatemalan surgeon I spoke to, practicing battlefield medicine. In some cases, people who hadn't had their wounds attended to in 5, 6, 7 days. So a lot of bad things had happened while they were waiting. Now had to try to recoup some of that time and needed more serious treatment because it had taken so long to get them to a hospital that could address their needs. So you haven't seen this covered much by the mainstream media, but it's been an interesting couple of weeks for the Dominican Republic as well, as President Leonel Fernandez has extended every resource at his disposal. The Dominican Red Cross, search and rescue teams, doctors, medical supplies, loaded up trucks in the ports and sent them streaming over the border with Haiti. It's one of the more interesting parts of this story that these two countries that have had such difficult times sharing this island since 1804 are now, well, in something of a peace moment. Good to talk to you, David. Back to you in the studio. It's Ray Suarez in Port-au-Prince, Haiti.